Hi everyone, welcome back to English Digest. I'm Pat.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
So we're talking about jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
So this idea of doing something just because a lot of other people are doing it, it's popular, and we talked about why people do it. I mean, it's easier. It feels good to be with the popular group, the winning team.
Totally.
And humans are social animals, and we do have this kind of, we don't want to be on the outside, really.
No, and you want to belong somewhere. Maybe you have a strong family. You can depend on that. A lot of kids don't have strong families, and they want to belong. So that's part of the reason some of these kids jump on the bandwagon of different groups that aren't going to bring them a lot of happiness or success, especially if they're gangs. But we're going to look at some different examples of people jumping on the bandwagon. Another reason people jump on the bandwagon is at first they could see kind of this trend happening, but they weren't sure if it was really going to be successful, so they held back. But people want to be winners.
Yeah.
And so once they see something that's just, rushing towards success or some sort of win, that's when they'll jump. Yeah,
Get on
totally.
board. So we're going to look at some of the negative things that can happen from jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
It's not always negative, as we'll see, but it can cause a lot of problems. Let's read through the article and see what they are. The bandwagon effect is inevitably at play in many aspects of our everyday lives. We might judge a restaurant based on the number of people lining up outside, purchase a product simply because it's a best-selling item, or even adopt a political opinion that we know is popular. While it may seem harmless to jump on the bandwagon, doing so can actually have undesirable consequences. One example is a bandwagon built on hatred. If several students decide to pick on a classmate, it could influence the rest of the class to do the same just so they can fit in. The bandwagon effect has also been responsible for manipulating elections. If opinion polls show a particular candidate is in the lead, citizens are more inclined to change their vote to support the winning side. The bandwagon effect can also be observed in consumer markets. The demand for a particular product may drive up its price beyond what it's actually worth. The problem with the bandwagon effect is that it can rob people of the ability to think critically. People can get into the habit of relying on others for information. Members of a group may feel compelled to agree with a decision, even if it's flawed, for the sake of maintaining harmony. Despite the negative influences the bandwagon effect tends to have on society, this phenomenon isn't always bad. If people around you think and act positively, you might be encouraged to fit in. What really matters is that we make our own informed decisions and acknowledge that we're susceptible to this social bias. The next time you're tempted to jump on the bandwagon, ask yourself, are you doing this because you want to, or because everyone else is doing it? So there we go. We've looked at some good things, but a lot of things that could go wrong if you just kind of do what everyone else is doing without really thinking it through first.
Right. Yeah, you really got to be careful with this. I'm glad that we're bringing up some of the negative aspects of this. So the bandwagon effect is inevitably at play in many aspects of our everyday lives. If something's inevitable, it's like no matter what you do, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen no matter how bad you fight against it. So you could just say that it's certain to occur, certain to happen.
Yeah, it's always there.
Yeah, you can't avoid it. So the bandwagon effect is inevitably, and this is describing kind of what's going to happen if you jump on the bandwagon. It's inevitably at play in many aspects of our lives. It's just there. It's certain to be there, especially, as we've talked about, certain parts of our lives, especially school,
college, that sort
campaigns,
of thing.
Political campaigns. Yeah. Something's at play. It's taking place. It's happening.
It's in effect.
Yeah. In many aspects, different parts of our lives, you could say, different aspects of our everyday lives.
Yeah. Now, there's a good, very sort of, I think, Taiwanese-specific example here. We might judge a restaurant based on the number of people lining up outside.
Oh, I've seen this in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Totally.
So people go, why is everybody going to that restaurant? It's famous. Why? It's famous. It was on TV.
I've actually seen a line form, and more people will stand in the line because other people are standing in the line.
Yeah.
And they don't want to miss out.
And they don't really know what the line is for.
Or I've seen, because I will buy a certain thing in my neighborhood, people will go, well, why is that foreigner getting that? That must be good. Yeah, I know. It's so funny.
So that's the second example.
Yeah.
Purchasing a product simply because it's a best-selling item.
Totally.
Like, everyone knows, oh, this is selling well, so therefore it must be good. It's best-selling. It's selling better than any other kind.
Right.
So we will purchase it as well. Purchase just means to buy something.
Yeah.
And then the third example we've mentioned a bit, adopt a political opinion that we know is popular. So even if it's not really what we believe, it just seems to be what a lot of people believe, so we will adopt it. We will kind of make that ours. We will take it on kind of thing. In the same way that if you adopt a child, it's not your child, but you look after it. So to adopt an opinion means it may not be your real opinion that you've always had, but that's what you're going to kind of follow now.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard if what you believe is not like what the current trend is. You have to really be strong. So while it may seem harmless, it's not going to hurt you, right? It seems like it's still harmless. It's not going to be bad for you if you jump on the bandwagon. Doing so can actually have undesirable consequences. So they aren't the results that you're looking for, but maybe you don't know when you jump on what's going to happen at the end. So be careful. Here's one example, and this is a bandwagon built on hatred. If several students decide to pick on a classmate, it could influence the rest of the class to do the same so they can fit in. I've seen this happen.
Yeah, it does happen.
Yeah, it's so sad to see, especially if a very popular person picks on someone else.
Oh, then everybody starts to copy them.
Yeah.
To pick on someone means to kind of, another way to say bully, really. You know, you're going to call that person names. You're going to exclude that person from activities. If you're going to make fun of someone, it's that person. You kind of target that person and you just kind of keep attacking them, not always physically, but it could just be by
calling names,
making them not part of the group. We talked about ostracizing yesterday.
Yeah.
You could pick on someone by ostracizing them and saying, that person's not cool, so that person isn't involved in what we're doing, that person has no friends. So.
Yeah. Sometimes, if you're eating lunch and you're ostracizing somebody, you can typically see someone sitting alone by themselves. They probably feel ostracized. Pick on is kind of the verb phrase we used when I was growing up. But nowadays, like you said, Pat, we're using bully, which
it is bullying.
Bully just used to be a noun when I was young, but now it's a verb to bully someone. But yeah, it's terrible. So be careful. If you have influence and people look to you as a leader, do the right thing so that you can be an influence for good. Now, the bandwagon effect has also been responsible for manipulating elections. If you manipulate something, you use it for your own advantage. We often will talk about people manipulating other people. Strong personalities can often manipulate or use a weaker personality to get them to do what they want them to do. That's bad.
Yeah, it's kind of controlling and influencing a person or a situation cleverly and often for bad things.
For your advantage too, right?
You're not doing it for the benefit of the thing that's being used. So the example of this in elections is if opinion polls show a particular candidate is in the lead, citizens are more inclined to change their vote to support the winning side, like we talked about yesterday with supporting sports teams when they're winning. So an opinion poll, this is what they do before an election. They kind of get an idea of people in the country. They take a small sample and they go, what do you think of this person? Or who do you think's going to win the election? Who are you going to vote for? And you take a small sample and you go, well, if that's what 1,000 people think, then we can sort of use that to figure out what the whole country is going to think. And so you go, all right, the opinion polls from this small sample show that candidate X is in the lead. They're winning. They're going to get more votes. That's what in the lead means. So other people see that and they go, looks like that person's going to win. Well, I wasn't sure before, but now I'll vote for that person. So like yesterday, I can associate with the winning side. People either change or people who are undecided make up their minds. They become more inclined to do that. If you're inclined to do something, you are favorable towards that thing. You're willing to do it. You're willing to support it. You're kind of gone over to that side.
Maybe you have a group of friends and you're going to go out for the evening and there are different choices you can make. And you could say, well, I'm inclined to do something that will get us home early because I'm tired tonight. So you tend to want to do that thing. This is not me. I don't care what polls say. I'm going to do what I want. But a lot of people are guided by that. And they will change whatever they were going to do so that they can be with the winner. Now, the bandwagon effect can also be observed in consumer markets. This is huge, especially around Christmas, I would say, when, people are buying toys because they have kids and, you want to give your child the toy that's popular.
Yeah, that every toy has because the kid says, if I don't have one and everybody else does, then I'm not popular. I'm not cool.
Yeah, and you can see people fighting over toys. And consumer just means somebody who consumes something, who uses something. And if you're in a consumer market, just think of retail stores that are selling different things. So the demand, how much something is wanted, the demand for a popular product may drive up its price. I can say here, it will certainly drive up the price.
Yeah.
Sometimes if something is very popular, a lot of people buy a lot of it and then resell it on eBay to really get a lot of profit off that.
Yeah, to drive up a price means it increases the price. So if something's really popular, then stores that sell them will go, hey, we can make this more expensive and people will still buy it.
True.
Sort of thing. So the price goes up and the price goes up and they just go, well, it's popular. We haven't got many left. So that kind of thing. Now, some stores are nice and they keep the price the same, whatever, because they realize, well, we can make just as much money by selling cheaply to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But yes, I think of houses more for driving up prices. Like houses in a particular area, if the price is going up, then the price of all the other houses around it will go up until that area is then super expensive.
Yeah, that's so true. I think of tickets that we buy to go to concerts.
Yeah.
If that particular performer is very popular, the tickets will sell out, but there will still be tickets that are resold
for even more than they were bought for.
Yeah, look at Hamilton on Broadway. The tickets are over $1,000 US.
I think sports players in the UK.
Oh, really?
When football players are bought and sold, soccer players by other clubs, if the club that owns the player knows their player is in demand from another team, they will just go, well, if you want to buy this player, we can charge you as much as we like.
Wow.
Pay us $75 million for this guy.
I didn't know that's how they did it over there.
That's how they can do it. If they know that he wants to go and wants to move teams, they just put a big price tag on him.
Yeah.
We'll look at some more problems with the bandwagon effect in just a moment, but right now we're going to take a break and listen to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 今天课文的第一个句子就说明 The bandwagon effect is inevitably at play in many aspects of our everyday lives. 在这里的 inevitably 解释成为不可避免的、必然的意思。举个例子来说 That kind of success inevitably attracts admirers.那样子的成功必定会吸引许多的仰慕者。第一段的最后面我们看后半句 Doing so can actually have undesirable consequences 其实如果你每一件事情都是盲从的话也可能会有一些不快的后果。举个例子来说在第二段的第二个句子提到 If several students decide to pick on a classmate, it could influence the rest of the class to do the same just so they can fit in. 这里的 pick on 指的就是找某人茬或是刁难的意思，所以如果有人一直刁难你，你就可以很生气的对他说 Why pick on me every time? 为什么每次呢都要刁难我呢？ 而如果这样子的盲从是建立在这种憎恨上，它有可能就是因为几个学生刁难某一个特定的人，然后就造成 the rest of the class 其他的人呢也这么做，只因为呢 they can fit in 这些人可以呢去适应融入这样子的环境，然后呢造成这个人被霸凌的结果。后面还提到另外一个状况，就是有这个民调显示If opinion polls show a particular candidate is in the lead, citizens are more inclined to change their vote to support the winning side. 还记得我们昨天提到吗？大家都觉得呢，跟这些赢家能够有连结在一起，就会有一种满足感。所以当这个民调显示某个特定的候选人 is in the lead,In the lead 也就是有领先的意思，那么其他的公民就比较有可能会去改变选票，支持呢这个赢的哪一方。在这里我们要注意一下这个形容词 inclined 当作形容词有什么样意向的或想要怎么的，所以 be more inclined to do something 比较有可能去做什么事情，或者如果是 be less inclined to do something 就比较不想去做某件事情的意思。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're looking at some of the negative effects of the bandwagon effect, some of the problems it can cause. We've looked at problems in picking on classmates, with things getting more expensive, with elections going the way they might not have been expected to go just because, oh, this seems popular. Going to vote for that too. What else have we got?
Well, the problem with the bandwagon effect is that it can rob people of the ability to think critically. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of lazy in their thinking, and they just think, well, so-and-so's doing this, so I'm just going to follow them. So-and-so is a 某一个人, so so-and-so's doing this, I'm just going to follow them. They usually make good choices.
Yeah. Or the idea of, this is popular, so it must be right. That's a mistake.
That's crazy. Or, oh, I see this is selling well. It must be delicious, but it's not. So anyway, you need to really spend time thinking critically about what you're doing and the decisions that you're making. To think critically means you think clearly with reason. You don't just make decisions based on what other people are doing or on your emotions, which is not a good way to make decisions either. People can get caught into the habit, or can get into the habit. I would say people can get caught up. We also use that phrase. If you get into the habit of relying on others for your information, sometimes you'll be led astray, which means you'll lose your way. We've seen a lot of stories this year called fake news.
Yes.
Where the media that we're trusting to tell us the truth aren't doing their jobs, and they're relying on gossip and whispers. So make sure you look for information from several sources. You know, look at different news groups so you get a full picture of what's going on.
Yeah, to get into the habit of something means it becomes a thing you do regularly. So if you start to go, I'll just do whatever's popular, then you could end up making wrong decisions.
That's lazy.
Yeah, and we see that members of a group may feel compelled to agree with a decision even if it's flawed for the sake of maintaining harmony.
True.
So if you feel compelled to do something, you feel like, I have to do this. This is something I must do, even if I don't agree with it, kind of thing. If you're compelled, you feel like there's some kind of force, or there'll be a negative consequence for not doing it. Exactly. So you go, okay, if that's what everybody thinks, then I will go with it, even if it's flawed. If something is flawed, it's wrong or bad in some way. There's a mistake in it. It's not perfect. There's just something wrong. And they do that for the sake of maintaining harmony.
Yeah, they don't want to argue about it. They don't want to have contention. We often use that phrase to go with the flow. Think of a river, it goes one direction. If you try to go against the river, it's hard. Or, walking up an escalator that is actually coming down. It's harder than,
Super hard.
Yeah, just go with the flow. But a lot of people will go with the flow because it's easier. And this piece of advice, which I agree with, is make your own decisions. Do the research, think critically. A lot of people just want people to get along.
That's harmony, really.
Yeah,
they want
it's
everyone to be happy and everyone agrees and there's this feeling of good that, we're all on the same page.
Yeah, but what if your group is deciding to do something bad late Friday night? Sometimes it takes a lot of courage to go against what that group wants to do. Now, despite the negative influences the bandwagon effect tends to have on society, this phenomenon isn't always bad, which is true.
Yeah, that can be what we're saying there is a lot of the time it's bad, but sometimes if everybody's kind of going the same way, that can actually work out for the best.
Yeah, so if people around you think and act positively, you might be encouraged to fit in. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So find good groups that are doing positive things.
Exactly, yeah. And you can kind of see this if a few people in your group are like giving to charity, then you will go, well, I will also give to charity.
Yeah.
If a group of people are going like running or cycling together for health, you'll be more encouraged to go with them.
Oh, it helps a lot.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So things like that. So you'll be encouraged to fit in, to do what other people are doing. Now, we say here, what really matters is that we make our own informed decisions and acknowledge that we're susceptible to this social bias. So an informed decision is one where you've got the facts, you've got lots of information, you've got all you need to make the right decision. You haven't missed anything out, you've looked at it from all the angles, you've thought about it, and you go, okay, now I've got the information, I can make an informed decision. So we also have to acknowledge that the bandwagon effect is a thing and it can affect us. If you acknowledge something, you admit it's true, even if you don't necessarily like that thing or if you disagree with it, you still have to say, okay, it is real, it is true. So it can be similar to the word admit.
Right.
You can admit it's true, you can acknowledge it's true, you can say, yes, this is the truth. I know this to be true.
Sometimes when you admit something, you're agreeing with something that you don't want to necessarily. Acknowledge also has kind of that feeling of, well, yeah, you're right.
Yes.
So you wish you didn't have to acknowledge, but sometimes you have to. If you're susceptible to something, it means something is very attractive to you. You're a little weak in this area. I'm susceptible to a lot of colds. Germs are, something that I get colds easily, so I stay away from people who are sick. So if you're susceptible to something, it means it's easy for you to go that direction.
Yeah, you're more vulnerable.
Vulnerable is a great word.
It affects you more easily than maybe others.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And we say that if we are susceptible to this form of social bias. Now, a bias is an inclination or a prejudice for or against one person or group or idea. And we often use it in a way that it has an unfair result.
Yeah.
Something that's not right. So
he's biased.
Yeah, we say someone can be biased against something, like they don't like something without really a strong reason. It's just their inclination, their feeling. So a social bias is the idea that our social thoughts and our behavior can be affected by things.
Yeah.
Following the crowd.
Following the crowd
is the one we're talking about. Some people's social bias might be do the opposite of what's popular. They don't necessarily hate that thing, but it's popular, I don't want it.
Yeah.
So that's another form of social bias. It's an idea that you're doing something because that's what you do without really thinking about it.
Yeah. So you got to be careful with that. So the next time you're tempted to jump on the bandwagon, you should ask yourself, are you doing this because you want to or because everyone else is doing it? Yeah, it's never too late to start thinking for yourself. You're an individual. Think critically about things. Use your mind, use your brain, use reason. And, you might be jumping on a bandwagon after doing the work and informing yourself. You might say, yeah, I agree with this. Let's go. Yeah,
just the idea is don't assume that just because it's popular, it must be good or correct.
True.
That's what we're saying. Find out for yourself.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of the article. We're going to hand you over again to our Chinese teacher.
第3段则是提到从众效应会剥夺人们批判性思考的能力。第3段的最后一句提到 Members of a group may feel compelled to agree with a decision even if it's flawed for the sake of maintaining harmony。在这里提到呢，群体里面的 members 成员可能会被迫呢要去同意一项决定。这里的 compel 原来当作动词，有强迫或使不得不怎么样。举个例子来说 He was compelled by illness to give up his studies. 他因为生病而被迫必须要放弃学业。而这样子的人呢，可能被迫要同意一项决定 even if it's flawed.Flawed 形容词，有缺点的，错误的。为了什么缘故要去同意它呢？ For the sake of maintaining harmony 为了呢要保持和睦和谐，他呢就去同意尽管是有错不好的一项决定。第4段中间的句子提到 What really matters is that we make our own informed decisions and acknowledge that we are susceptible to this social bias. 那么如果从众效应是有负面的影响，那你该怎么办呢？在这里提到的真正重要的是 What really matters 搭配动词 is然后 that 接一个名词子句来当作受词，真正重要的是我们要自己做这种呢有根据的决定。 Informed 当作形容词，有消息灵通的或者是有根据的意思。而且我们也必须要 acknowledge 要承认的呢，就是其实我们很容易被一些社会偏颇的想法所影响。在这里要特别注意这个形容词 susceptible就是代表易受什么影响的。譬如说我们都很容易受到广告影响，你就可以说 We are all susceptible to advertising。 而 bias 则是指的偏见跟成见的意思。所以下次你想要跟随潮流的时候，还是要问一下自己是不是盲从了呢？ OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
So there we go. That is the end of the article. We're talking about jumping on the bandwagon, the effect it can have, and why we do it. As we said in that last paragraph, it's important just to be aware that it exists.
Yeah.
Okay, be aware that that kind of thing can affect your thinking and can just make you do something because it seems to be popular.
True enough. Well, that's it. We hope you'll join us next time for English Digest. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Pat.
Bye.
Bye.